Hey guys, it's Graham. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be telling you why I almost quit au pairing. So before I jump into the reasons why I almost quit, and before I tell you the story, if you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave me a comment down below. You guys are absolutely the best, and thank you so much for your support. That being said, let's jump right into this video. So I've been really hesitant to make this video for a couple of reasons, but first of all, you probably noticed I'm not in my bedroom in Spain. I'm in my bedroom back home in Georgia. So I'm home right now and I'm about to explain why. One of the big reasons I've been hesitant to make this video is, as you guys know, I like to keep the channel really light and happy and positive, but if I didn't tell you this, if I didn't tell you this story, it wouldn't be honest. Because the fact is, au pairing is not always flowers and sunshine. Sometimes it's really difficult. Sometimes it requires a lot of introspection. And this is one of those situations in which it was really hard. So I'm gonna explain exactly what's happened. To understand the situation I'm in right now, we kind of have to go back. And if you already know my backstory, you can use this little scroll bar here at the bottom to go to a different part of the story where I explain what's happening now. But my story really starts when I went to Spain back in September. If you don't know, I signed a 10-month contract with my host family in Seville, Spain, starting in September, and we were set to go all the way through June. Back when I first went to Spain on September the 2nd, 2020, things were really looking up in Europe for the coronavirus. After the summer, cases were looking really good in Spain. They were down, deaths were down, the country was reopening, and the majority of countries inside of Europe allowed free travel between one member state of the EU to another. So we could definitely travel within Spain, and then it was very easy to travel to France or Germany, Portugal, countries like that. Life in Spain back in September was relatively similar to how it was before the virus, but then the second wave happened and everything changed. By late October or early November, the EU began closing their internal borders, meaning that you couldn't travel from, say, France to Spain or from Spain to Germany. You were restricted to your own country. To add on to that, Spain began imposing travel restrictions inside of Spain. So we couldn't travel from Andalusia, our community, to Extremadura, one of the neighboring communities. Not long after that, just a week or two, it got even worse when we couldn't even leave the city of Seville. We were literally restricted between kilometers of the city and we couldn't go outside of that. This was a crushing blow to everyone, but I think especially au pairs and Erasmus students, because that was our time to travel. That was our time to see Spain and to see Europe. And with these new restrictions, we could barely even see our own neighborhoods. To back up a bit in the story, when I left for Spain, I was planning on coming home for Christmas. This is something that I knew I wanted to do. My family back here knew it, my family in Spain knew it, but back in November, it became pretty clear that that was not going to be an option. Due to not just the COVID restrictions, but also some issues I was having with immigration, I was unable to leave the country for Christmas. And when I first got this news, I really took it on the nose. I mean, it didn't hit me that hard because I knew it was a possibility. But over the course of a couple weeks, as I began to process what exactly this meant, it really began to wear down on me. Starting about the week before Christmas, I began to notice that I was extremely tired all the time. Even if I stayed at home pretty much all day, I noticed that I was really exhausted, just inexplicably tired, and had very little drive to do anything. This persisted all through Christmas, and when the kids went back to school in January, I decided to pick myself up. I started eating healthier, I started exercising more, starting new projects, starting a new hobby, hoping that these things would really pull me out of this weird phase and keep me going with my life in Spain. The thing is, it didn't work. After doing all this stuff, I was still tired, if not more tired than I was when I first started, so I knew that something had to change. To add on to the constant tiredness I was feeling, I also became really irritable with Spain. I would notice that just the littlest things about Spain would really start to get under my skin. Loud noises if I was in the park, or if I'm talking on the phone, I would get frustrated when a bus passed, or something that the kids would say would really get under my skin. And that's not like me, that's not my personality, and it was just so uncharacteristic that it really scared me straight. After living like this through, I would say, early February, I knew that something had to give, and I started looking for advice from other au pairs. After talking with my family and my friends and other au pairs who had been in similar situations, I knew that something was gonna have to change. And for me, that meant that I was either gonna have to go home permanently or go home to take a little trip, a sabbatical. Once I decided on this, I knew that I was gonna have to tell my host family what I had decided to do. And I foresaw it going one of two ways. One, I thought I was gonna tell them that I wanted to do this, and they were just gonna tell me to go home and stay home. The painful reality for a lot of au pairs is we are very replaceable. There are loads and loads of people who want the job that we au pairs have. And for host families, it's not all that difficult to find a replacement. So I knew that if I told my host family this, as much as I love them and as good as they treat me, there was a real possibility that they would just say, don't worry about it, go home forever. The next possible option was I was going to ask them if I could go home just for a couple weeks, just to catch my breath and relax a bit, and then come back and finish out my term. I decided to tell my host parents this on a weekend. I remember it was a Saturday and I was so nervous. The family and I, we sat down and we had lunch, and I didn't want any of the kids to hear this because if things got bad, I just didn't want them involved in it. And that's not something a child should have to deal with. After lunch, when the kids went to do their things, I told the parents, I came up to them and I was like, hey, I want to talk with you guys about something. And my host mom, she motioned me to sit down, and I sat down at the table. And the first thing I said to them was, I didn't break anything and the kids are fine. And they kind of chuckled. I don't know, I think they saw something was coming. Over the next 20 minutes, I essentially just spilled the beans. I told them everything that was happening. I told them how I felt and all the issues I was having, and they were so sweet about it. I know you guys have heard me brag about my host family a lot, but they are such sweet people and they really do care about me. And I could see in this conversation that they were genuinely concerned about my happiness and my well-being, and they offered lots of solutions. They even offered to pay for blood testing for me or to talk to a psychiatrist, which were really sweet, but that's not what I needed. When I told them about my idea to go home for a couple of weeks, once again, they were completely supportive. They told me that I could do whatever I needed to do, and I essentially got the green light to plan my trip home. So that puts you where we are right now, which is at home in the US. After that conversation, I started looking for flights back home. I was booking stuff, I was getting ready, and trust me, it is no easy thing to travel right now, especially travel from the EU to America and then back. So it's been a big headache, but it has been a solution, and I've been home for 24 hours now, and I feel so good. So there's a couple things that I think you should know if you find yourself in a situation like this. One, if you're wanting to go home, you should ask yourself whether you want to go home permanently or whether you just need a break. In my situation, I didn't want to go back home forever. I love my host kids, I love my family, I love Spain, and I wanted to return. I think a lot of host families completely understand this emotion, especially right now during COVID. So just be honest with your family and present that as an option if you are in a similar situation. Some big things that I would note is, especially right now, for one, it's expensive. Traveling is so expensive. Just know that right now it really is a pain to travel and it is troublesome. But if that's what you need, that's what you need, and you're just gonna have to do it. The other big thing that I would have to say here is I really do think it's worth it. Like I said, I've been home one day now, but just having that knowledge over the past 2 or 3 weeks that I'm going home has totally lifted my spirits. It's given me a new drive. And I can honestly say when I got on the plane back to the US, I was excited to come back to Spain. I'm excited right now. I leave in 2 weeks to go back to Spain, and I'm excited to go back. If you're really meant to go back to your host country, you're gonna wanna go back. I do love home, and I love my friends, and I love my family, but I also love my life back in Spain. So I say all this to say, if you're in a similar situation, if you're feeling burned out or just tired, don't suffer alone. Communicate these issues with your host parents. Tell them how you're feeling, tell them what the problem is, because the reality of it is if you're unhappy, they're probably unhappy too, or if you're uncomfortable, they're probably feeling the same way, and a happy au pair is a happy host family. Remember, just because you're an au pair doesn't mean you forfeit the right to make decisions for yourself. So do what you need to do to be happy. Okay guys, so that is why I almost quit au pairing, and thank goodness I did not. I'm so excited to go back to Spain. I already miss my kids. I miss Spain. I miss my life there. But I'm so relieved to be here. It's been such a breath of fresh air. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and if you've enjoyed it, please like it, subscribe to the channel, and leave me a comment down below. New videos come every single Monday and Thursday, so I'll see you then. Muchas gracias y hasta luego. Ciao.